Hey students, in this video I'm going to go over the properties of rectangles and this unit of quadrilaterals. The rectangles are part of the family of the parallelograms, so all the other properties of parallelograms are going to apply to rectangles along with two additional new properties. So an additional one is that all four angles of the rectangle are 90 degrees. And then also the diagonals are congruent. So that means that besides the diagonals bisecting each other, the diagonals are also congruent, and that creates four equal parts. So as we answer these, you want to just apply these properties to help you find the unknowns. All right, the first one, QR. QR is this section right here, and QR is right across the 10. So opposite sides are congruent. SR, it's this side and it's across the 24, so opposite sides are congruent. Then you have SQ. SQ is the diagonal. And if this is 10 and this is 24, we can find that diagonal because all four angles are 90 degrees. So this is a 90-degree triangle, a right triangle. So we're going to use Pythagorean theorem to find that side that's missing. That's across the 90 degrees, so that is the hypotenuse that's missing. So we're going to have 24 square plus 10 square. Then we find what that missing value is. 24 square will be 576 plus 10 square, which is 100. And then you add those two and you do the square root. So the square root of 676 will equal your C, and that's going to be 26. So 26 is the total length for SQ. Then you have PR. PR is the other diagonal, and since the diagonals are congruent, we can say that PR is also 26. And then QT. QT, it's this little part only, like this part of the diagonal. We can go back to saying the diagonals bisect each other. So this diagonal is cutting this diagonal in half, making these two equal parts. So that's 13 and 13. So these are all problems that can be answered based on the properties of rectangles. Let's try another one here. We have 15 given to us right here, and then it's asking for AC. So AC is the whole thing, and we know that these two parts are equal because the diagonals bisect each other, so we're going to say that's 15 as well. BD. BD is the other diagonal, and again, diagonals are congruent, so this diagonal and this diagonal are equal. So if this is 15 and 15, then this has to be 15 and 15 as well, so that's 30. All right, the next is BE. BE is just this part right here, so that would be 15 since it's half. And then AB is this part across, so that's across the opposite of the 27, so 27. Opposite sides are congruent. And then BC, it's this side. So that side is not given, but we know that the whole thing right here, D to B is 30, and then this is 27. So we have another Pythagorean theorem needed here. This is the 90 degree, and across the 90 degree is the hypotenuse, so that's 30. When we do the a squared plus b squared equals c squared, we have 30 as your hypotenuse, and then one of the legs is 27. So then when we square 27 and also 30 squared, we're going to end up subtracting those. So when you subtract 27 squared from 30 squared, you end up with 171. Then you're going to do the square root of that, and then you end up with a 13.1. So that is that missing part right here. This is 13.1. Okay, let's try another one. We have angles. So MJK is the whole thing. And again, it's the corner of a rectangle, so it's 90 degrees. Then you have MJL. MJL is just this part right here. So this is remembering that if the whole thing is 90 minus 27 will give you that missing part, which is 63. So this is 63 and that's 27. JLK is this part right here. And in parallelograms, we learned that these angles are called alternate interior because of the parallel lines cut by transversal. So alternate interior angles are equal. Then KML is this part over here. Okay, so for that one, we need to remember that 27 here is going to be 27 over here. And then we discovered also that since all these parts are equal, this creates a isosceles triangle. And when you have an isosceles triangle, these two angles are equal. So that's also 27. The last one is MNL. MNL is that top angle right here of this triangle. So if we know the whole thing is 180, we're going to subtract the 27 minus 27 from that, and then it should equal this top angle. So that's 126. All right, let's try number 4. We have XWY. XWY, which is this corner right here. And based on the conversation we had on the previous problem, this creates a isosceles triangle. So if we know the whole thing is 180, we subtract the 64 from this triangle, and then that gives us 116. Then we know that these two angles are congruent because of the isosceles triangle. So we do 116 divided by 2. So that is 58. And then that's what these angles are, 58 and 58. So XWY is 58. YXZ is this angle right here. We know that the corner is 90, so we do 90 minus 58. So that's 32. Then we have WVZ. WVZ. So this part right here. So we can annotate or understand that this whole thing is two angles next to each other and they form a line. So that's a linear pair. So we have an angle that's 64 and you need to answer what the other part is. Well, here on the side we have 180 minus 64, which is 116. So that does result in this angle being 116 because 116 and 64 next to each other create that 180. So 116 is the answer there. Then you have XWZ. XWZ, which is the corner. So that will be the 90 degrees. And then XZY. XZY, this angle right here. And this still applies parallelogram properties. So parallel lines cut by a transversal opposite are alternate interior. So that would be 58. At any time, you can pause the video and just do the work on your own and then just check if you got the answers correctly. So I'll try to make this video short if possible. dB equals 42, so dB is the whole thing. And these two are divided into two equal sections, so you have 21 and 21. AD is 26, which is this side, so this side is also 26. And measure of angle DAE is 52. DAE is 52, which is this part right here. This is 52. All right, so the questions for this problem are, what is AC? So AC is the whole diagonal going across the other direction. If this whole is diagonal is 42, then the other diagonal also has to equal 42. And then EB is this section, so 21. BC is this section right here, so that's 26. AB is the other section, so this is the part where you will consider Pythagorean theorem. Because you don't know this side, so you can calculate that side by using Pythagorean theorem. You have a leg, missing a leg, and then you got the hypotenuse going right here. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You're missing a leg, so you're going to do a squared plus 26 squared equals the whole thing, which is 42 squared. Here you're going to end up subtracting the 26 squared from this side, and then the answer to this would be 1088. And then you do the square root of that, and a equals 33. So we're going to say here that the side here is 33, which means this side is also 33. All right, and then now we talk about angles, measure of angle ADC. ADC is the whole corner, so that's a 90 degree. Then you have ABD, which is this part right here. So we gotta make some connections here. If this is 52 and the whole thing is 90, 90 minus 52 gives you 38. So this angle is 38, and then this is isosceles triangle. This part right here, let me highlight it with a different color so you can see it. So that creates an isosceles triangle right there. So that's 38, and then this is going to be 38 as well. So ABD is 38. BCA is this part right here. So if this is 38, then this is going to be 52. And then since this is an isosceles triangle, this is also 52. And the last one is DEC. DEC is this inner part right here. So if this is 52, then this has to be 38. Then this has to be 38. And again, the whole triangle is 180. So we'll do 180 minus 38 minus 38. And that will result in 104. So 104 degrees is that top angle right there. All right, so after understanding the properties, you will apply the algebra process to solve for the unknown. To make this video short, since it's already 13 minutes, I'm going to just go over the questions on the left side. So EF is asking to find what this side is. And based on what you're given, you have two sides that are equal because they're opposite of each other. So you're going to write 3x plus 5 equals 7x minus 39. Then you're going to solve for x. So minus 7x minus 5. Negative 4x equals negative 44. So then you divide by negative 4 and you get 11. Now it's asking for EF and not just x. So now you're going to substitute there an 11. And 7 times 11 is 77. 77 minus 39 is 38. So EF is 38. All right, on the next one we have JM. JM is this section right here, so that's x plus 17. Then you have MK, which is this part over here, and that's 5x minus 23. So once again, we talked about all these parts being congruent to each other. So x plus 17 equals 5x minus 23. You solve for x. You get 10. So it's asking for JL. JL is the whole thing, which is two parts of this. So we cannot just substitute the 10 in there. So 10 plus 17, that's 27. And we have 27 and 27, or 27 times 2. That equals 54. So JL is 54. On the next section, we have angle BCE. BCE is this part only. So let's talk about the relationship between these two angles. So they're alternate interior, which means they're going to equal each other. Let's start with that. Then you solve for x. So x equals 2. And then we're going to plug in a 2 in there. So that's 19. And we need to remember that this part is just the tiny part right here. So now we need to do 90 minus 19. And that's 71 degrees. So this other part is 71. All right, last problem to go over together is this one. And then the relationship between these two is that this is alternate interior to this. So 5x minus 8 can also go up here. And then these two angles together form the corner. So we can say that 5x minus 8 plus x plus 20 equal 90. So then we combine like terms. And then that leaves you with 13 for x. So measure of angle XZW. XZW, which is that part. We can just plug in the 13 in there. And then that will result in 57 degrees. Okay, I hope this video helps you understand properties of rectangles.